I said, hey, what's up? Hello, and welcome to the ultimate guide to playing the Imp from Blood on the Clocktower. This video will teach you everything you need to know about the Imp, including how to play it, advanced strategies, examples of games and situations, and more. So whether you're a beginner or seasoned veteran, I think you'll find something useful to you here. I have hundreds of games played under my belt. Not all of them are going to be shown here, but these are all the ones I have on the website. I have a ton off the website, for the record. And I'm regarded as a decent player among my peers. Don't mind the win rate. So don't worry, I know what I'm talking about. Also, if you're in a rush, I'll include timestamps in the description for any specific part of the video you may be looking for. Now, let's jump in. We must keep our wits sharp and our swords sharper. Evil walks among us and will stop at nothing to destroy us good, simple folk, bringing our fine town to ruin. Trust no one. But if you must trust someone, trust me. The Imp's character type is a demon and has an evil alignment. You can tell he's evil because his token art is red, and red equals scary. The Imp also happens to be the only demon in the base script of Trouble Brewing, the most played script in this game. And for those who don't know, a script is the exact list of characters you will be playing with in a given game, so any combination of them could be found in the game, and no role that isn't on the script will be found. That being said, no role on the script is guaranteed to be in the game either. It just lets you know that it's possible to be there. There are exceptions, like one demon scripts will always have that demon in play, much like Trouble Brewing with the Imp. But for example, a monk could be in the game, but it's not guaranteed. And in case you were wondering what I'm using here, this is the official Blood on the Clocktower wiki, bunch of tips and tricks and descriptions and all that good stuff. Right here you can see the 3 base scripts of the game. Yeah, I'll leave a link to this website in the description. I am going to be going through some of what the website may say about the Imp, but a lot of this is through my own experience that I'll be talking about, and what I find to actually be useful when playing as the Imp and whatnot. The Imp's ability reads as follows. Each night, choose a player. They die. If you kill yourself this way, a minion becomes the Imp. The asterisk means each night except for the first. So to explain the second half of that ability, if there's an Imp and let's say a poisoner as the minion, and the Imp kills themselves at night, then that poisoner becomes the Imp, losing access to the poisoner ability and gaining the Imp's ability instead. This self-kill is commonly referred to as an Imp pass or a star pass, but if the Imp dies in any other way, like let's say execution, right? We got the votes, mark for execution, close them. So let's say the Imp dies to an execution, then the game will usually end as the Imp is the big bad demon, and all demons being dead is the town's win condition. Otherwise, the Imp will just pick a player each night to kill with no other effect occurring. The Imp's main win condition is simple. Survive until they are one of the final 2 survivors, or just kill all good players. This would also work. Nothing else matters. Sacrifice minions if you need to. The Imp just needs to survive. It's also important to note that the Imp, being the demon, will learn 3 not-in-play good alignment characters that they would be able to safely claim and pretend to be as. These are known as their demon bluffs. So for example, we got townsfolk right here, empath, townsfolk right here, soldier, and an outsider, the butler. Even though that's an outsider, it's still a part of the good alignment, so it counts as a bluff. These are the bluffs because they are not in the game. And now the demon knows that and can safely bluff as that. Yay! And speaking of demon bluffs, so you know you're the demon and your minion or minions know you're the demon, but you definitely want to hide all that from all the good townsfolk and outsiders, which means you need to lie. But lying can be hard. So let me make it a little easier for you. When it comes to bluffing rules as the imp, you generally want to pick one of the 3 demon bluffs given to you by the storyteller. They carry no risk in claiming after all. That being said, sometimes you just might not like the bluffs. For example, drunk, butler, and who knows, a chef, right? Maybe they're really trash or they don't allow you to make a play that you want to make. I personally have been in that situation myself, and let me tell you, I was seething. What I recommend you do in this situation is get as much information as possible and start figuring out roles without ever hard claiming. Maybe go around giving 3 for 3s. 3 for 3s is when you trade 3 possible roles you could be for another player's 3 possible roles. But of course, as Imp, you would never put Imp down as one of your 3 possible roles. And always have one of your bluffs as a backup. Alternatively, you can hard claim a random role that you plan to come out as false later just so you buy yourself time. Make sure you claim a role on the script though. Anything here? One of the most important things you'll be doing as the imp is deciding who to kill at night. Your first instinct should be to kill any of the powerful information roles, for example, the fortune teller, or if there was one, an empath. But sometimes those with more social credit are way more important to kill. For example, a washerwoman who is very believable and very trustworthy, or an investigator, or even a saint that everyone truly believes is the saint. A confirmed virgin who has used its ability and has made it work would be a way better kill than the fortune teller who's getting daily info. And the reason I say players with a ton of social credit are more important to kill regardless of their role is because you don't want to end up in a final 3 with those players. And in case you didn't know, the final 3 players is almost always the final day of the game, since the imp would kill that night and end the game as one of the final 2 survivors is its win condition. That's what a final 3 means, and hopefully that final 3 contains a group of the 2 most suspicious townsfolk and the imp. Sometimes the best kill at night is actually going to be one of your minions or even yourself. Maybe you'll be bluffing as a Raven Keeper and decide to imp pass to make up information and help your team. Or maybe one of your minions wants to do that, right? Keep in mind though, there comes power with votes, so killing off your team is a trade-off for that. Now, as a general rule of thumb to follow, here's how I'd list the importance of kills when you're the imp. First, yourself, when you are extremely likely to be executed the following day. If you are executed without a Scarlet Woman in play, that's game over for you. Number 2, anyone that is as hard confirmed good as you can get. This includes a spent virgin, a washerwoman, confirmed townsfolk. For example, if the washerwoman saw the Slayer, then, well, Slayer is pretty confirmed, right? Confirmed outsiders by count, so this would be the Recluse and Saint in a 2-outsider game, and basically anyone else where everyone in town agrees is always good no matter what. Now, to touch back on the outsiders, on Trouble Brewing specifically, you could totally fake that there's a drunk somewhere on the script and that one of the 2 outsiders is fake. So on Trouble Brewing specifically, these 2 are not a priority to kill, but I digress. Number 3, mostly trusted info roles like an empath, fortune teller, or undertaker. If town feels pretty good about them and they keep getting info, that's ultimately always going to be bad news for you unless they are somehow drunk or poisoned, which would mess up their info and possibly help you. And number 4, pretty much anyone else. Everyone else can become suspicious or be framed, and so at that point it becomes a game of who is the easiest to frame. While it may seem like a big difference, deciding between a suspicious empath or a middling chef really just depends on game state. However, if you want to be safe, you can kill the recurring info roles like the empath to start. In this case, again, it would be the fortune teller. One category of players that are very game dependent are your minions. It was hard to fit them in any one spot, so I just wanted to mention them as a side note. It's very rare for you as the imp to want to kill your own minions, but sometimes the situation may come up, so it's important to keep in mind in case it ever becomes relevant. An example would be if you are in a final, let's say, 4, and these two townsfolk are way more suspicious, and everyone thinks this is your minion, but they just don't know who the demon is between the three of you. Well, maybe you want to kill off your minion because everyone already thinks they're a minion, and that way it's a 1 in 3 chance instead of, let's say you kill the virgin, it's a 1 in 2 chance. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. So while you may have an idea on how to survive and how to pick better kills now, one thing you need to learn is how to believably frame good players. This will often come as a result of what you are bluffing, so it's a bit difficult to explain it generally. Essentially, though, you want to pick a player that the group may find the most suspicious or a player you believe you'll be most easily able to frame as the demon. Here's a key tip. Reaffirming a good player's fears of another player being evil can reassure them and trust you more. For example, if this fortune teller believes the saint is evil, and I talk to the fortune teller and I'm like, yeah, actually, I think the saint is evil, this guy might be the demon, well, now the fortune teller is more keen to side with me. And I've seen this a lot through many games. The more you may genuinely look like you're collaborating with a player who's obviously good, the much better you will look. People don't like to admit when they're wrong, so often you will find players who would rather lose the game than vote against the player they trusted all game long. Now let's look into some example games and situations to see what you could do as the imp. Just note these were all for the most part randomly generated, and I just made them as fair as possible from a storyteller perspective. Then I proceeded to come up with a plan for if I were the imp in that specific game. So this is game 1, and in this example game I have here, we can see the imp has some pretty powerful bluffs, but it looks to be a bit of a difficult game in general for evil. We have both a undertaker and a fortune teller, and a soldier that's not going to get hit, and if you hit the Raven Keeper, he'll get info. An easy strategy here would to just be bluff either Saint or Mayor, though, and to give yourself a reason to live until the end as the imp. Just gain that social trust. Pretty easy and low pressure to do that. Personally, though, what I would do is claim empath and say I got a 2 on night 1. Now, obviously, as the imp, you're not going to have all this information here, right? The only info you have to start is your bluffs, that you have a poisoner, and that you have a baron. So you know there's outsiders. You know someone might have poisoned info. You could bluff that you were the poisoned one as the empath. But point being, okay, cool. I'm going to bluff as empath. I'm going to say, hey, I got a 2 on night 1. And then on the following night, I'm going to star pass / impasse / just kill myself. I will be my own first victim and pass into either my baron or poisoner. That would be my plan. While I may lose agency in what happens in the game, I have now caused confusion for the rest of the game, right? Are both of my neighbors truly evil? Was I the drunk? Maybe I was poison sniped on night 1. With me dying the following night, almost everyone will believe I'm actually good. And if they believe me to be the drunk, then they'll actually hide the fact that someone else is actually the drunk, in which case it's the chef. Of course, this won't always work. Maybe you end up neighboring both of your minions, or you're next to a virgin who ends up getting their ability to pop. It would be really tragic. But with drunk and poisoning always being possible, you can still make it work. And if you're the type that doesn't enjoy the pressure of being the demon, this strategy would be even better for you. Just don't make it obvious that it's happening. And of course, on day 1, you can figure out if you want to stick to that strategy by talking to both of your neighbors. As a bluffing empath, you would have reason to want to figure out if your neighbors are, a virgin or something else, something that could believably be seen as an empath too. Just don't make it obvious what's happening. So this is game 2 I've set up, and this example situation may look a little odd at first glance. In fact, it looks really bad, doesn't it? I mean, your spy is being seen by the outsider, as an outsider by the librarian, and as a minion by the investigator. So, on that matter, the bluffs also don't look great. So what's going on? Well, it's a spy game, so your bluffs aren't the most important as long as you communicate with your spy, which is why it's very important to talk with your minions to know what you have and what you're working with. Now, the idea here is either the spy or the imp can bluff recluse, and should it go wrong, there is still a Scarlet Woman to save the imp from anything going bad. As the imp, I would personally take the free recluse claim, as it would justify all the pings on both me and my spy, as well as justify why a fortune teller might get a yes ping off of me later down the line. It would also explain my death in the case of a slayer shooting me, which happens to be right here as well. I want to clarify a bit more on the recluse bluff and why it works here. As you can see, the recluse ability is you might register as evil and as a minion or demon, even if dead. And the recluse is an outsider, meaning it's good alignment. So they might appear as an evil character, but is actually good. An investigator, for example, could see a recluse as a minion. A fortune teller could get a yes on the recluse as if they were the demon. And if a slayer were to shoot at a recluse, they could die because they would register as a demon to the slayer in that instance. Of course, all of these things would only happen if the storyteller chooses to have them happen, but for this particular situation, that's definitely what I'd say is happening. I'd be like, oh, yep, you're getting all these evil pings on me because I'm the recluse. It makes sense. Even the librarian saw me, wink, wink. That being said, if the slayer does not use their shot immediately, then they would be my very first kill. It's also very easy to frame the Undertaker here, as they are the fortune teller red herring, and it's an Undertaker in a spy game. This is a unique and interesting situation for sure, and I don't know if a situation like this would come up, because I don't know if a storyteller would want to do this. And there are definitely more ways you could play this out, but this is what I came up with in the limited amount of time I could think of a plan. Now, the way you would know these pings exist is either obviously, them telling you, but also the spy would see this information when they look at the grimoire at the end of the night, so should immediately come to you, talk to you, hey, this is our situation, blah, blah, blah. If you don't talk to the spy, though, you could always just claim monk or chef. I would recommend monk out of these three, but I digress. Point being, it's a tricky situation, for sure. More advanced. Now, this is game 3 and the last example I'll be showing you, and it's also one of the worst situations you can find yourself in as the imp, sitting directly next to the sober empath. Barring any poison snipe from your poisoner on night 1, this empath will catch you very quickly. Thankfully, they're also sitting next to a mayor. A good storyteller will do their best to remedy this situation for evil, as I tried to do here by putting the empath in an investigator ping while actively avoiding that bottom side of the board with the washerwoman. So as you can see, I confirmed the slayer over here with the wrong monk townsfolk, and I'm not confirming the empath, I'm not confirming the mayor, not going to confirm the investigator, because that will just confirm that there is a minion, so on and so forth, right? Now, let this example be a lesson to all poisoners to poison their demon's neighbors night 1. If I were the imp here, I would almost definitely claim fortune teller. I could use it to frame the mayor, the empath, or both if I wanted to. Probably the mayor after I learn about the investigator ping, because I'll know, okay, well, if there's an investigator ping and they're seeing a minion between empath and spy, then I just want to say the mayor is a demon, right? And I know fortune teller's free because it's one of my bluffs. If I don't get to talk to the spy, that is. I'd also ask my poisoner to claim chef here and to say he saw a 1, and I would know chef is free after I talk to the spy. But yeah, I would tell the poisoner, hey, you should claim that you saw a 1. That would put the mayor in jeopardy, as both of the investigator pings are on either side of that mayor, and it gives more credence to that chef claim, right? Again, I'm definitely prioritizing the slayer here as the imp, and I will imp pass to my poisoner should it come down to it. Again, I'm definitely prioritizing killing the slayer here as soon as I can as the imp, and I'll imp pass to my poisoner should it come down to it. As dire as the game may initially look here with the empath next to me, it's actually very doable to get away from it scot-free, thanks to how the info plays out here. The only issue would be the monk actually protecting the slayer, in which case, yikes. Hope this guide helped, and make sure to leave a comment if I should make guides like this one for other characters. I have tons of ideas for videos, so subscribe so you don't miss out.